England were playing Wales and Russia would play Slovakia in Lille. We're all outside. There's about 30, 40, 50 outside this pub. About 20 Russians have walked past with a flag over their shoulder. Now, this kid threw a drink over them, so they obviously dropped their flag, chucked their gum shields in, and just charged. And everyone run. Everyone was there, gone. They run. And this kid have come for me. And I'm thinking, oh my God. And what I've just seen as well, they've hit some kid, and he's knocked out on the floor. And as they're going forward, they're stamping all over him. So I think, don't go on the floor, don't go on the floor. Yeah, it was a tough fight, like, you know. It was sort of 1-to-1, and it was hard. Trust me, it was hard work. And anyway, it stopped, and he come over and shook my hands. He said, "Oh, very good fight, my friend. Very good fight, my friend." And then his mate then hit me with a fucking chair. I smashed all my leg in.
They're different, didn't they?
Different breed, yeah.
What's going on, people? Welcome to the Central Club. This episode is brought to you by Re-Inspire Printing and Kaleidoscope Project. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the club, and hit the bell button to be notified of future content. Since the start of the Central Club, there's been a few heavy hitters that have remained at the top when it comes to viewings. One of them is lifelong football fan and Cardiff City Soul Crew affiliate, Anis Abraham. Although most of the comments were respectful towards Anis, some of them from so-called experts of, you know, the topic terrace culture and hooligans claimed he wasn't really the real deal. One thing I can say in his defence is he never said he was the real deal. He acknowledged that he won in the midst of most of the battles, but the fact he's been going to Cardiff City games from the 80s till now the thousands, we thought it'd be good to get him on. Speaking about the real deal, there was one person he kept on mentioning who was a real deal of the Cardiff City Soul Crew, and that man is sat next to me now. And because of the sheer popularity of Anis's episode, we just had to get this man on. So ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you, former football hooligan, Mr. Jonathan Evans.
Okay, guys.
Thank you for coming.
No problem.
How's things, mate?
Not too bad, not too bad.
A nightmare to get hold of you.
I'm here. Glad to be here.
Yeah, no, thank you for coming, honestly.
No problem.
As soon as I'd done Anis Abraham's podcast, it was like, I tell you need to get on. And he mentioned a few people, but he kept mentioning you.
Yeah. And
then obviously I went out and done, you know, my little just asking around and yeah, it was your name that kept up resurfacing all the fucking time. And to be honest, you know, looking at videos now, there's some videos on YouTube which you're there in the forefront, so there's no denying like that you've been around. First thing I do with all my guests, John, is just kind of take it back, you know, where you're from and what type of person was you when you was younger?
Well, I was born in 71. I'm from Grangetown. Lived there all my life. Growing up, I had a good, you know, mother and father, both working parents. You know, can't say a bad word about them. Yeah, growing up in that area, I suppose, you start to see the worst elements of that area, and I got drawn to that side of life at an early age, 14, 15, and yeah, I went on the wrong path for quite a few years. Yeah. So yeah, that's my background. That's where I started. Started going to football when I was 11, 12. Started getting involved with the hooligan side from a young age. It was just a buzz, you know. I weren't interested in the football, you know. I couldn't name a Cardiff City player, but it was that side of the football that got me hooked, basically. So yeah, and I've lived an interesting life through that aspect, really.
Yeah. So you said like your first couple of games you went to really was in the 80s.
Early 80s.
What was Ninian Park like in the 80s?
It was intimidating. The first memories in Ninian Park really was jumping over the big blue gates at the back of the Bob Bank, and I'd always look to the away end to see how many fans the away supporters brung. One interest in the football, just how many fans were from the other club, and that's my first real memories of Ninian Park. But you know, it was an intimidating place. It was an intimidating place.
Was there like some sort of firm in place at them times?
Not really. You know, the casual scene had kicked off probably early 80s, and the first dressers I come across, I went to school in Moston, which is in Ely.
Yeah.
And the first dressers I come across and actually first noticed was the boys from Ely. They were the first. Obviously, there was a lot of boys from Ely in our school, and they were the first ones who I'd seen, you know, dressing different. And it was just, it was interesting. You know, I was hooked basically, and yeah, I started trying to copy them. Obviously, when you're that age, you know, you don't get noticed. But there was no specific. The Soul Crew, I think, was formed around about 82, maybe 83, but I didn't know it as the Soul Crew then, you know. But yeah, it was that was my first introduction, basically, for football, like, you know.
Yeah, and the boys obviously then who were really dressing casuals and taking the name of the Soul Crew were all like pretty young then.
Youngsters, yeah, we're all youngsters.
How old?
I was 12, 13, so they were, you know, 16, maybe 17, the oldest maybe a bit older, but that's the ones I looked to, you know, round about my age. You know, you had like older boys, but they weren't into the casual scene. You know, they were still big lumps, basically. You know, but the youngsters, the ones who dressed different, hairstyles different, were all youngsters. You know, and in the early 80s, as you know, a lot other sides in England were a couple of years in front of us, basically. So we had catching up to do, but we caught up in the end.
Yeah,
we did catch up, but the beginning was it was a learning curve. You know, I think it put us in good stead, really, because you know, when you're younger and they're a bit older, you know, it gives you more confidence. You know, if you have a result against an older firm. But it took a while, but we got there in the end.
Yeah. So what was like your first ever interaction into having a good running scrap with another club?
Newport. I think it was Newport. I must have been 14. Yeah, 14. And we was all waiting under the bridge but by the Ninian Park pub, waiting for Newport to come out. And that was the first, you know, running battle I can remember. It was my first arrest, funny enough. Yeah. But yeah, that was my first, you know, proper involvement that I actually done something, you know, threw stones, bottles, whatever, you know, but that was the first running battle I can remember.
Yeah. So, and you know, for you to start going anyway, you know, there must have been some enticement. There must have been stuff happening for you to be drawn to the football in the first place if you're not a football fan.
Well, it was the violence, you know. I'd seen it, you know, but like I said, when you're that young, you know, you don't really, you know. I can remember Chelsea, the 3-3 draw. You know, I can remember standing on a bob bank and watching all march up behind the Canton stand, and you know, I thought, wow, you know, it was. I was hooked.
Yeah.
You know, it was, but it got to be in you. Like, if it's not in you, it's not in you. Do you see what I mean? Some people can't understand, you know, think, why are you going to a football match and fighting? You know, it's select, if it's in you, it's in you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah, that was my first really, you know, experience, seeing it, the roar, the crowd, you know, the clothes. I was hooked.
I always like hear stories about like the 80s and you know, the tennis culture. Like stories I hear, even back to the 70s, it's just like totally different to what it was like now. Like in stadium violence as well. Like, you know, bringing things into the match and just like hurling fucking darts and that. Yeah, what was it like then? Like,
I can remember we had Leeds one year. I was early 80s, and I can remember being in Grangetown, you know, like putty, getting putty and putting all glass in putty and throwing it over. You know, that you didn't get really searched them days going into grounds, you know, golf balls, you know, but it's chalk and cheese now. There's no atmosphere, nothing down there no more. It's done. But the 80s, going into the 90s as well, were good times.
Yeah. When would you say the Cardiff City Soul Crew really were acknowledged, feared? When was the heydays for you?
I would say early 90s, early 90s up to the early 2000s. I think Cardiff peaked around about 2000, 2001. We had Millwall in 99, and after that it started to sort of die down a little bit. But then 10, 12 years, I think, Cardiff there were many sides that could touch us, I don't think. Every side thinks they got the best firm. Every city, every side got things, our boys are the best, So I'm coming from obviously a biased point of view, but I have seen a lot of sides, and, we were up there. We were up there, 100% up there,
Yeah, you were lower league, obviously, in those.
Lower leagues. We never been in a Premiership,
Yeah.
So I suppose to test ourselves against, the Man Uniteds, the Chelseas, the West Hams, all the so-called big clubs in the 80s and through the 90s, we didn't really get an opportunity to. But when we did play, when we go to London, we were always on the lookout for other sides.
Clubs,
yeah, basically.
Yeah, so you go to if there was an FA Cup draw somewhere, and
we go all over the country. Yeah, basically. If Cardiff had a shit game, we go to other games and turn up at other games. But yeah, the 80s we were more or less fourth division. But there was some sides there, we left our mark, but we never. It would have been nice to be in the Premier League or the Division 1, it was called then, to go up against the big sides. We had Man City, Chelsea, even in the second division a few of the years, but that they weren't week in, week out. Portsmouth, they were good. Yeah, we had good times, but it would have been better, I suppose, if we were in Division 1 to test ourselves week in, week out.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I can imagine a Division 4, 3, every game you're hoping for something in you.
Yeah.
But if you're playing a team that's got a dead club, they're probably a smaller town.
Smaller town, besides your Bristols, you still had, like we had Man City, we've had Chelsea, we've had Wolves, Portsmouth, even sides like Hull, Borough, they all got good firms. You have a good fight with them, but it weren't. You might have 1 or 2 weeks off when there's shit clubs. And, you don't rate them, so you think fuck them. Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
But it was. We had some fun times though. Did have some fun times.
Yeah. What was your preference? Away days or
away?
Always away. Yeah?
Always away. Test yourself away, don't you? But years ago, you didn't have the escort. You could sneak. You never had the CCTV cameras that'd pick you up as soon as you come off the train station, or you could get away with a lot more. And these days you come football, you're wrapped up in a bubble, in an escort, and
it's not only shit for you, but also I suppose back then when there's no police protection, there's no CCTV.
You want that, don't you?
Your adrenaline's going even more because it could be any moment you could be caught up in something bad.
That's what you want. That's what you were there for. You weren't there to go and watch the game. Well, I was anyway, but you were there for that Pacific. That raw. Yeah, they are. Do you see what I mean? That's what you were there for.
So I want to. So what I want to do is I want to if we could go through we've just gone through the 80s and that is maybe give me some of each decade, some memorable moments and stuff. But before I do, I just want to know as well. So with the Soul Crew, where would your firm mainly be based from? Would it be Cardiff? Would it be other areas as well?
Mainly Cardiff. Yeah, you had the valleys and they done their thing, but we were based mainly in Brownhills through the 80s, early 90s. We were based in, Annis had this place called Brownhills, which was right by the train station. And we were based there, So that was our HQ for a while, like, you know, and so we'd meet there, we plan things there, and we'd go from there for a lot of places, you know, to especially away games.
Yeah.
And
what areas of people from Cardiff?
all over. We call ourselves the Dirty 30. Yeah, there's about 30 of us from like Grange Docks, one or two of the boys from different areas of Cardiff, but it was mainly them two areas. But like I said, we had a few boys from different areas, which were you know, top kids, like, you know, and but we stuck together. Do you see what I mean? It was we do our own thing. We turn up at somewhere else, and if there was other Cardiff boys there, they'd latch on to us.
Yeah,
you know, and we was probably the forefront for a while. You know, we was the we took it everywhere basically. You know, week in, week out. Well, I'm gonna say week in, week out. All the big games, we were there.
yeah.
You know, from late 80s through to most of the 90s. It was a good 30 of our crew, our little firm, always at the forefront, and yeah, it was good.
Talk a bit about the. I think it was the 80s. Was it with the Swansea FA Cup? Was that the 80s?
Early 90s.
It was early 90s, was
yeah,
it?
Yeah.
What was? Did you go to that game?
Yeah,
of course.
yeah. I got nicked as well. Basically, you have this lot of banter, Cardiff, Swansea. Now, how can I explain this? Swansea got a firm of between 100 and 300 boys. Yeah. Now, their firm is together. Yeah. Cardiff's firm was all over South Wales. Do you see what I mean? So you might have 50 from the valleys or 100 from the valleys going. You might have 50, 60 from Pataubach going. You'd have different areas of Cardiff making their own way to the ground. Now, the Jacks could pick off different firms of Cardiff and may have a result against them. But the only time I've seen Cardiff Swansea meet firm to firm is at our FA Cup on by Martha's. They had a nightclub on their main street called Martha's, and they had this little roundabout. We've come down our main street, and we was, 900 strong. They had about 200-300, and they got leathered, blitzed. And that's the only time the two firms I've actually seen meet, you know. Obviously, we have more numbers with them, but that's not our fault. You know, you're not going to say, hang on, 500 stay there in a minute and we'll fight even numbers. It don't work like that.
No.
But the only time we've had even, like, you know, their firm onto our firm, full hitters, was that FA Cup game.
Well, the Cardiff boys anyway.
Yeah. And, they got blitzed. They got leathered.
So the swim away, you know.
They're happy with that, aren't they? They chased, I think, they won one boy from Cardiff there. They won one person from Cardiff. There was a few Pataubach boys.
It's right by Swansea.
Right by Swansea. And a couple of Penarth boys, and I think one from Barry. But there was no actually Cardiff, none of our lot, 1,000,000%. There was no Cardiff boys there. And it was after the game, they were still hanging around. You know, they're happy with us, swim away, you know. But what I don't, you know, I've gone to Swansea. I've lost time. I lost count how many times I've gone to Swansea. Walk round and, you know, nothing have happened. Like I said, they may land on a mob from Caerphilly or may land on a mob from the valleys. You know, have a result against them. But from my point of view, from our lot, from our little crew, they've never done anything against us. We've even turned up. We even turned up one time when they were playing Panathinaikos.
Yeah.
They was over the, I think they went to Panathinaikos in the Cup Winners' Cup. I think it was in the 90s. And a few of them got nicked, a few of them went in jail. So when Panathinaikos come back to Swansea, obviously they were out. The Jacks were, you know, wanting revenge. So 25 of us went up there. And we went on to the, we thought we was going on the away end. Basically, we went on to the away end thinking Panathinaikos were going to be on the away end. So we've gone in, 25 of us, and the whole away end was Swansea. Yeah? And I don't know if it was their boys, but the whole end turned on us in the end, so it must have been some of their boys. Anyway, We was there about 15, 20 minutes. Some kid have walked up to me and he said, where are you from? And as I went Cardiff, he's put the head on me. So as I'm falling back, I like, how can I explain? Like, I've grabbed him and bit his face. As I'm falling back, anyway, it's kicked off. So at first, we've chased them all the way to the corner of the away end. They've seen there was like an handful of us, 25, and they've charged back up. And we had to fight our way back out to the ground. And I mean literally fight our way back out, you know. But little things like that, they don't mention. Even if their boys were on the North Bank, for example, yeah, they could have seen this, and obviously they never come out after us or anything like that. Do you see what I mean? But can you imagine 25 Swansea turning up at Cardiff when they're not even playing?
They ain't leaving the city.
Do you see what I mean? You know, it would never happen. It would never happen. You know, I'm not down on them. They got some good boys. I give them, you know, but that swim away that's their highlight, I think. And like I said, one person from Cardiff. So
I've never heard of any other altercations where Swansea's had the better of Cardiff.
No. They come down one year in limos, I think. And then they come down in limos and got out in town. And then what? Got wrapped straight back up. If you want to go somewhere, yeah, if you want to go to another city, yeah, and get in there and go looking for trouble, you can. Even in this day and age, do you see what I mean? You can do it. You know, you can take minibuses in. There's always different ways in. You can do it. But they've never, ever come down to us. They might have come off the train station and, you know, a couple of hundred or whatever, but they've never actually come down and proper gone looking for it. That's my opinion. You know, they've never actually done what we've done. You know, obviously then, you know, they're, like I said, they got their little swim away thing that if they're happy with that, let them be happy with that. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, it don't bother none of our lot, you know, it don't bother none of us because none of us were there.
None of you were there, yeah.
You know, they want one person from Cardiff, not one person.
Yeah, and it's all great having, like you said, the you know, the Neath boys or the Port Talbot and the Valley boys, but you know, they weren't Cardiff. They weren't Cardiff boys.
They represent, don't get me wrong, they represent Cardiff,
and that's great,
yeah.
like,
and I want to, you know, I give a lot of respect to all them boys, especially Port Talbot boy and the Valley boys, yeah. But that Pacific night, at that Pacific time, there wasn't one person from Cardiff. Do you see what I mean? You know, and you know, like I said, the amount of times we've been to Swansea, marching around looking for them, I've lost count. I have literally lost count, and I haven't seen. I don't know if I've seen a Jack walking around our city centre, you know, unescorted or looking for it. Do you see what I mean? You know, like I said, they come down once in limousines. I think no one even knew where they were there. Got wrapped up and sent back home.
Did you go down there with Butter one time as well?
Yeah, I took Butter down there. That was funny. We played Butter the year before, funny enough. And
what year was this?
I think it was 94, I think we played Butter. And they was all in the Albert Butter, and I've walked in there on my own. And so I'm looking around thinking, okay, there's about 40, 50 of them here. I didn't realise they were upstairs as well. So this kid from Butter come down introducing himself, this kid Diddy, and you know, chatting to him. I said, listen, give us about 2 o'clock. We're going to get a little, like what we got about, and we'll be back, don't we? We'll be back. So about, you know, went round town, got everyone together, went back to the doors. What we should have done, which is a schoolboy error, we attacked the pub. What we should have done is let them come out. But we attacked the doors. And as I've opened the doors, they've come charging out and gassed us. Yes, sprayed us with gas first. But I didn't realise there was another 50 of them upstairs. So there was more of them than us. And fair dues, they never took a backward step. And they split our firm in two. And they had the result. But I kept in touch with them. And the year after, they had Swansea in the FA Cup. So 6 of us went. We met the kids from Butter again, took them down in cars, met them at Swansea train station, and took them so they wouldn't get wrapped up by the police. So we took them all along the seafront and took them straight to the Swansea pub, and went off there as well.
Battered them.
Yeah, a few of them still, but they got, you know, Butter had the best of them. But,
yeah.
the Jacks were probably thinking, what the fuck are they doing?
Yeah, I bet.
You know what I mean?
I bet.
Oh, they landed right exactly at the Garibaldi, I think their pub was called. And
how did they know? Like,
how did they know? Borough just landed straight on their doorstep. Do you see what I mean?
surprise, shock.
Surprise, yeah. But I've funny enough, I've kept in touch with the Borough boys since '94, and they're good boys.
Yeah,
They're
it's a mad place, Borough, as well, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, rough little place like
yeah.
It is a rough little, and they have got a firm. They are, we was naive, really, to be honest with you, because we didn't expect them to be that good. Do you see what I mean? And it was a bit of a wake-up call. Do you see what I mean?
Any other firms like that you've had surprises with, or you thought, fuck,
Man United were good when they...
Were they? What's that, the Charity Shield one?
No, they played... They weren't good at that game. The one on the... what's it called? That documentary.
Yeah, that's the Charity Shield one.
Yeah. I didn't think they were good that time, to be honest with you.
I was at the Liverpool game and people were saying Cardiff and Liverpool are joining together to fucking...
Yeah, they were... I didn't think they were good that time. The best time I seen them when they played Millwall in the FA Cup final down at the Millennium Stadium, and they were all up by Mill Lane, and fucking hell, they were naughty. That was one of the best films I've seen in Cardiff.
Really?
Yeah.
See, when it comes to places like Liverpool, United, people don't think they're the clubs for the city, do they? It's like the Everton, the Man City. So to see a United...
Man United have always been good though, haven't they? They've always had the numbers, they've always been good, But the firm they had that day, they were naughty,
What do you think of Swansea as a firm and as a whole? I know you probably say this fucking...
And
whatever.
Listen, they're not shit. I'm not going to down and say, listen, they're shit, because I'll be telling lies. They probably think they're good. In their eyes, they probably think they're better than us, yeah? With some of their eyes. But they have got a firm. They've got boys. I can't deny they've got boys. But it's not a place that you go, fucking hell, we're going to Swansea. Do you see what I mean? You wouldn't think, oh, my God, we're going to be on our toes here, we're going to Swansea. Whereas if you were going... Millwall in the late 80s, or Man United, or Liverpool, for example, Leeds, you'd be thinking, you've got to be on your toes here. But Swansea, you're not going to be sat on a train thinking, oh my God, I'm going to Swansea. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
that's what you put it down to, isn't it, really? That's what you're judging them, isn't it?
Yeah. Like, from my point of view, I've never really had much trouble at Swansea, never been turned, never been run, never been worried, but we've had more trouble in Newport, to be honest with you.
It's there.
It's close, yeah. The amount of times we used to go back and forth. Anis used to go up, we go up on...
He got done a bit, didn't he?
Yeah, we go up on... like Snide Run, like we take a couple of carloads up and jump out on John Frost Square and try to, ambush them and all, I can remember where we go once, we were going to come back from Western Supermare, and 25 of us on a coach. So we've stopped off on the train station, the bus station in Newport, and they got this bridge coming over the bus station, and he's straight into John Frost Square. So a couple of us had gone into John Frost Square to get him out, say, get him to chase us out and ambush him on this bridge. But they've seen us, and we was a bit slow, basically backing off. We instead of backing off back to our firm, we stood and had a little go first, nearly come unstuck. But then we're on this bridge then, and it's gone right off. And there was one of the Newport boys, this kid called Lemmy. He's dead now. He got fucking...
Yeah, he got stabbed. He got
got murdered, yeah.
Yeah. I've heard a lot about him.
Yeah, I can remember him. He was there with a bright orange Newport County top on. And that was a good little battle, I was, But we had some right back and forth in Newport. They turned up at Brownhills one year, knocking on the windows.
You've got a firm head.
Yeah, they have got boys. And they were close-knit as well, because obviously a smaller place, so they have got a close-knit firm. Another good fight we had in Newport was in Milan. When was that?
It's mad, isn't it? You're in Milan, and you're scrapping with Newport.
Well, in Milan, 30 of us have gone over all together. We've gone all out.
What year is this?
It's the same year. It was on a YouTube video.
It's that video. It's that game.
Yeah,
is it?
yeah. So that's 2004, maybe.
You talk us through that after this Newport one. Then.
Basically 30 of us gone over together. A few Lanishan boys, there's some good boys from Lanishan as well, and a few of our lot. 30 of us together. Now we're all sit by this canal. No, first of all, we bumped into the Jacks. First of all, and this big square in Milan. It's about same numbers, and nothing could have really happened. There was too many police. The police were close to us with machine guns and all that. So you couldn't really have it off for them there. But they said to us, and I'll never forget, they said, we're all Welsh. I'm like, what the fuck do you mean we're all Welsh? There's no way Cardiff and Swansea joining up. It's not happening. I don't give a fuck, wherever you are, we're not joining with the Jacks, ever.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a bit strange coming from them, because it was their,
That's their ethos as well.
It was their main boys as well, do you know what I mean? It was their main crew. So I thought that was a bit surprising for them to say that. Anyway, so we're by this canal, same day, same now, we're by this canal, and it's a humpback bridge. And this kid have come walking over, and I looked at him, I think, what's he doing? And he starts counting our numbers. He's got counting. So I've said to the boys, I said, this is strange. So I've walked back over the bridge to see where he went. Anyway, as I've come back over this bridge, about 30 of them have come walking over, maybe a bit more than that, Newport. And how can I explain? They've come around the side of me, and I had something in my hand and used it on one of them, and he had a little cut on him. Anyway, it gone off, and it was fucking hell. That was a good fight. Fair dues, they stood a while. Fighting a football for 5-10 minutes is hard. It's hard. It was hard. I was that tired after that. I was sick. But they stood quite long.
Was that before or after the game?
That was before the game.
And then you've kicked off in the stadium.
Then we've kicked off in the stadium then.
What's happened then?
Basically, they were above us, weren't the Italians, throwing all fucking bits and pieces down. And
Pissing.
yeah, it was annoying. The old Bill wouldn't do nothing, and we thought, fuck it, we'll steam into the old Bill. And that's what we've done. We chased them chased them down these stairs, out through a tunnel, but what they've done, they come around the back of us and whacked us up. I had welt marks on the back of my head and across my ears where they hit me with their truncheons. And they broke my hand as well. I've hit one, and he had his visor down, but I didn't see his visor. And it nearly snapped the bones in my hand. But
and it was in that crowd, was it just Cardiff?
Just Cardiff.
It was
just Cardiff.
Because it looked like he was going off.
It was going on 2 points, yeah. What had happened, I think there's a couple of Wrexham boys were arguing with him at first, yeah. But it never really kicked off. Yeah. But then it swung over then, and then we took it to the next step, sort of thing.
You smashed them back, fair play.
Yeah, we chased them up basically down the stairs, round the tunnel, around the back. But they come behind us and whacked us up with their cruncheons behind us.
Fuck, no arrest in there then, is it? Or?
No arrest.
Fair play, that's a big day out there like that.
Yeah. It's but that game, Cardiff had a massive firm after that game. 200-300 of us marching around everywhere, looking for Newport, Swansea, the Italians, and we never seen no one.
I see a lot on like these Instagram pages now, and firms. I know it's different now with the cameras and stuff, but I see a lot of Wrexham front line. I know they're younger, but what would you say about Wrexham with the encounters you've had?
I've had a few encounters with Wrexham. I like Wrexham. I'm not gonna lie, I do like Wrexham. We had 1 year, we played them in, we never played them, sorry.
FAW as well.
I've seen a couple of sides to Wrexham. Basically, we played them once. I tell a lie, we was in Brussels, early 91 or 92, I think it was. And they've turned up on 2 double-decker coaches, yeah? And bit of a silly move, really. About 20 of us attacked their coaches. And it was all air firm. So 2 double-decker coaches, they've got to be over 100 of them, 80 to 100 of them. And we had to go. We never turned and run. We got hit back. Their sheer numbers pushed us back. Do you see what I mean? There was, I'd say 20, 25 of us tops, yeah? And they pushed us back with their numbers. We never turned and run. Yeah, they've threw chairs, and the chairs have pushed us back. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think they claimed that as a result for them, yeah?
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that, I've seen Wrexham's whole mob, another 100 of them, yeah, come out to the old Arms Park when there was a Welsh Cup final and get chased back into the ground by 4 black boys. There was this kid Farah, Starship, Santos, and who else was there? Someone else was there. And their whole firm got run straight back into the ground, scared, got run from 4 people straight back into the ground.
That's mad, isn't it?
It is hard to believe. If I seen it with my own eyes. So
but part of your mob in our father now, then.
Yeah. But on other ties, they've turned up. They come out to St Mary Street, not St Mary Street. What's the Chippy Lane called? No,
Caroline.
Caroline Street. They all come out there one time, and they got battered. A couple of times we caught them on a ferry coming after the incident in Brussels. On the way home from Brussels, we caught them all on a ferry, and if we would have caught them, we'd have probably threw them overboard. But they didn't stand then. They didn't stand once. But I do like Wrexham. I've been away a couple of times. In the Euros, the last Euros, there was quite a lot of Wrexham there. A lot of Wrexham go with Wales, see. It's Wrexham. I would say Wrexham go away a lot more than Swansea with Wales. I don't think I've seen the Jacks away with Wales, to be honest with you. But Newport will go away a couple of times. But the Wrexham, they do travel with Wales, Wrexham. I give them credit.
Yeah. During all this time, then obviously you've got a personal life as well. What kind of person was you? Was you working? Because you've been in jail a lot of times? Criminal activity?
Criminals activity. Really. Yeah, I've been in jail. I was in jail 92, 94, 96, 97, 98, 2000 to 2004, 2007. I've done a few years behind the door.
Any of them for hooliganism? Or?
1 or 2. I had jail for Cardiff, West Ham. Cardiff, was that 2000? I can't. 2004, I think. Anyway, we're all in a Neville in Grangetown, and I fired the flare out of the pub. At the police, well, sort of at the police, but it hit this police van. So I've come outside, I guess, nicked for it. They took all gunpowder, residue to see. Obviously, but basically there was 200 in this pub. So when the flare was fired,
it's gone on low.
It's gone on low. Anyway, I swerved that charge, but then they nicked me then for. Prior to that, West Ham were walking down past Callahan Square, Do you know where Callahan Square is? Top Beach Street, They was walking past there with a few Newport at the back with West Ham. So they've called, the boys, I don't know, and a couple of them have called my name. So I've jumped over this barrier, and as I'm jumping over this barrier, this couple of filmed, and a couple of bottles have hit me. I've started fighting the back of their escort, but I'd never gone nicked at that point. So after I was released for the alleged firework thing, they've nicked me for that, and they gave me 6 months of that and took my passport for 10 years, 10-year banning order, and took my passport. So that was the last sentence I had for football violence. That was, but criminal activity. I've done a few sentences for things outside of football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you elaborate?
we used to do a lot of jewellers. We go basically all over the country, grafting jewellers. Not robbing them. We'd go in the day and we'd have keys, maybe some keys to the cabinets, open a few cabinets up, take the most expensive things we could take, really. I got nicked on crime watch for it. I had 2 years for that one, down in Exeter. And yeah, mainly jewellers, a few commercial burgs. We used to do, when the scanners first come out in the early 90s, we used to go and do commercial properties. So you're too young to remember the scanners, and you?
No, but I know, I have heard of them.
We used to have scanners, yeah. We used to have the police scanners, early 90s, and tune into their radio waves as well. So what we used to do, we used to obviously turn a scanner on. Anything that come over Operation Circuit was the alarm from that place would go straight to the police station.
Yeah.
So if you heard Operation Circuit over the scanner, you're gone, yeah? Because obviously the police are on their way. So we used to do loads of commercial burgs. We've done warehouses where they used to keep, auction places where they have repossessed office stuff, furniture.
Yeah.
We do them. We used to foam up the alarms, drill holes in the alarms and foam them up. So I've had a couple of sentences for them. Fighting, obviously. I've been in jail for an affray, offensive weapons. I've been nicked for armed robberies in 92. Even arrested my mother for that. You know, how embarrassing is that? To get your mother arrested.
Was that South Wales Police? Is this the one I maybe used to, because around that time it was like the same officers?
Yeah, they were. They
because you're from the same area, basically,
area,
as, for people who don't know, Grangetown Docks, you're the same area as like where John Acty and I was.
That's
and those
right,
police were quite naughty.
They were not, yeah. Well, I got nicked by Tommy Page once. But the police that I was involved with is I don't know if I could say his, I won't say his name anyway. Anyway, this copper, I've got nicked for this a robbery on a post office in Grangetown, and gets nicked for it. I'm in Fairwater police station. They've arrested my mother. Now, basically, what this copper have come to my cell, lifted up the flap, and said, "Listen." I'll never forget what he said. He said, "I'm chopping the pops at this police station. I've just arrested 3 armed robbers. We've arrested your mother, admit your involvement, and we'll let your mother go." So I'm thinking, wow, oh my God, this is on top, this is... Anyway, so at the time I was incognito, which means you've got no access to anything. Do you see what I mean? You see a solicitor actually in where the interview room was, yeah? And... So anytime a police officer comes to your cell, they've got to write in the custody record book. You with me? So if a copper comes to your cell, the custody sergeant got to write down in his custody book, so-and-so went to so-and-so's cell at this time, yeah? They can't just come to your cell. They've got to be written. They've got to be a written record of it, yeah? So anyway, cut long story short, I got acquitted of the robberies, but my mother took the police for wrongful imprisonment, for wrongful arrest. So when we was in civil court, she had to go through the civil courts to she had to take the police to the civil court. It's not a criminal matter, it's in the civil court. So when I'm in the dock, the police barrister is saying to me, the police never went to your cell. They never come to your cell and said that they're chopping the props at the police station. We got your mother, admit your involvement, and we let your mother go. They said I was lying, I made it up, yeah? But my barrister said, well, in my first interview, I've said to the police, why have you got my mother arrested on tape, yeah? So basically what he said was, well, if you never went to his cell and told him his mother was arrested, how would I know my mother was arrested? How would I know to ask them my mother was arrested? Do you see what I mean? How would I know she's locked up? How would I know? Exactly. How did I know that? So they stopped it and they give her a few quids out of court settlement. But the copper got caught perjuring himself in the dock, and obviously nothing happened. So
how much money have they given out, South Wales Police in?
Yeah,
it's mad, isn't it? Yeah. It's like
they done a few, didn't they? They done a few convicted a few boys. You know, there was one cop, but he said he heard them talking. You know, someone said they heard each other talking in the cells, and he stood outside the cells writing it all down.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
That got him convicted.
That?
The Saunders, was
it? No, the two. Not the Darvells.
No, Michael O'Brien.
Michael O'Brien. Yeah, sorry, I've interviewed him. Yeah, sorry.
You know.
Yeah.
But he done that twice, man. That wasn't the first time he done it. Do you see what I mean? So yeah.
Twat. What's going on, people? If you like your clothing, especially vintage, then you need to get down to Knight's Vintage in Cardiff Market. You can't miss it. It's across the famous Welsh Gate shop. It's right by there. There's no excuses, yeah? We've got a wide range of everything, from your Stone Island jackets to your CPs and feelers. We also trade, buy and sell. So come down here if you want to deal with some of your old clothing. They're more than happy to take it in. We've got everything. T-shirts, jumpers, polos. The trainers are off the scale. We've got the Air Force Ones, the Air Maxes, the Dunks, even the Sambas. Even the Sambas for the city boys, yeah? Get down to Knight's Vintage. Stay central. Do you need a work uniform? Want to start a clothing brand? Or maybe you have a football kit that needs a logo printed? Well, if I was you, I'd get in touch with the Re-Inspire Printing Company down Treforest Industrial Estate for the finest printing and embroidery in Wales. I use them for my custom-made mankini, but you could use them for t-shirts, hats, hoodies, and many, many other things. What was like your longest sentence? Where have you been? What kind of jails? Any naughty jails?
Yeah, I've been to a few. I've been from Liverpool up to the Isle of Wight. I've been, let me try to fucking know. All the jails in Wales, Bristol, Gloucester, Liverpool,
all of them.
Guys Marsh, Devon, Dartmoor, Parkhurst, Albany, Camphill, Winchester, Dorchester. I can't think of any more, but...
Did you take, the same attitude you've got like when you're going down the city and that? Did you take that into the prison? Violence?
Yeah. I did. I thought, fuck them, As I was on road, that's how I was like in prison.
Yeah.
I was on GOAD in Dartmoor for 5 months. That was interesting. The screws down there were horrible. And I used to have murders with them. They steam us. I used to enjoy fighting them, but they were naughty. They were. They tried to. They use the intimidation, don't they? Do you see what I mean? Open your door. They got their shields. They got their helmets on.
Yeah.
And I think fuck them. Let's go then, innit? And I had 5 months down there. I come out like Princess Leia. My hair grew up there. It looked like I had a big pair of earmuffs on my head.
Yeah. Funny guy.
Yeah, I was on GOAD there for 5 months. Then after 21st century, still shitting in buckets on Sea Wing. That was my attitude. I thought, as you are. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
I used to think, fuck them. I lost so many days. I was smoking weed or through, fighting the screws. This day and age, see, they take you outside court now, see. You bang a screw, you're going to jail.
Back then it was...
No, they just fill you in.
They dealt with it.
Dealt with it there and then.
Best way.
Of course it is. Do you see what I mean? The same with the police, mind. The first time I got nicked, Cardiff and Newport, they chucked us in a van, filled us in, and chucked us back out. Do you see what I mean? I would drive it, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? Obviously this day and age, it's all jail, isn't it?
Yeah.
You wave at you raise your hands now at the football match to wave someone on, you're going to jail.
Yeah.
What's all that about? Do you see what I mean? Yeah, but...
What was the worst jail you've been to, would you say? What was like some of the things you witnessed?
Albany was probably the worst one, which there was three. There was Albany Park, Albany, Camphill, and Dartmoor were probably the three worst. Dartmoor for the screws, I would say Albany for the cons, and I'd say Camphill for there's a lot of gangs, like Cockneys, like London gangs in Camp.
Yeah.
It was their sort of if they messed up in their jails in around London, around the South Coast, they'd send them there. Do you see what I mean?
I see.
And yeah, there was some naughty weapons I seen there as well. I seen some not bad injuries in jail as well. Yeah, but they probably the three worst.
Yeah,
Definitely the three worst.
let's move quickly on, like to the thought, like the 2000s, when obviously you're getting older, and
Yeah.
I used to go to some games, and especially the home ones, like the Leeds FA Cup.
Yeah.
Tottenham at the FA Cup was a good one I went to. Birmingham, any good run-ins with there?
Tottenham, I can remember they come down the night before, and we had a little scuffle with them by the Grange pub. But what I found with Tottenham is on the Saturday we was all in the Grange pub, and we've come charging out to the pub, and they didn't seem to want to break their escort. They didn't try to break the escort to fight. Yeah, up there, different matter. They was getting obviously different kettle of fish up there. Birmingham, we had a few scuffles with Birmingham. The main fight of the 90s was probably the end of the 1999, was when we had Millwall down here under the grandstand. That was a proper fight. No quarter given, and that was naughty. That was a naughty fight.
If you put that in like your top three, like that would
be definitely. I'd say that one. I'd say the one in Newport, with Newport in Milan, that was a very good one. And I would say the hardest fight I've had football was with this fucking Russian in the Euros. When was the Euros?
Wales 2016, is it?
Yeah, 2016 in France.
Because obviously we got, I think we got the World Cup coming now. Could you talk a bit about that,
Well,
that's all.
We went, obviously we're in France, driving all through France. We're in Lille. It was England were playing Wales, and Russia to play Slovakia in Lille. And so we're all outside. There's about 30, 40, 50 outside this pub. About 20 Russians have walked past with a flag over their shoulder. Now, this kid threw a drink over them, so they obviously dropped their flag, chucked their gum shields in, and just charged. And everyone run. Everyone was there, gone. They run. And this kid have come for me. And I'm thinking, oh my God. And what I've just seen as well, they've hit some kid, and he's knocked out on the floor. And as they're going forward, they're stamping all over him. So I'm thinking, don't go on the floor, don't go on the floor. So I'm fighting with this Russian kid, and all I was thinking, don't go on the floor, don't go on the floor. And it was it was a tough fight, it was sort of 1-to-1, and it was hard. Trust me, it was hard work. And anyway, it stopped, and he come over and shook my hands. He said, "Oh, very good fight, my friend. Very good fight, my friend." And then his mate then hit me with a fucking chair. I smashed all my leg in.
They're different, didn't they?
Different breed, yeah.
From the videos I seen, it was like Wales and England were joined together.
Yeah, it was. Funny enough, the Russians asked us to join with them first. They said, "Do we want to join and fight England?" And we was like, "No, you're fucking mad." Then it was a lot of England and Wales then joined together to look for the Russians. And
makes more sense.
Yeah, you're not going to, we're British, aren't we? Do you see what I mean? You're not going to fight Russia against England. Do you see what I mean? So, but they were good. The Russians, they were good. I never seen anyone put a gum shield in at a football match.
They have their own kids and that, bro. They have their own matching tops,
blacked out,
with like their club on them and all.
Yeah, and they were good. Mad. They caught one of the boys. He was block up. He was, and they've caught him, and they proper leathered him, and they put a circle around him so we couldn't get to him. And I think he thought he got it with a car.
Fuck you know.
But they were quite impressive. They were, but I think if all England and Wales together, then I don't think they would have stood a chance. But they've done their thing. Let them crack on, innit? Yeah. They were happy with that. So, but it was a tough fight though. Fair dues.
I got a couple of questions I want to ask you. Before I do, there was the one of the running I wanted to talk about was the Swansea Cardiff at the races.
Oh, Newbury
races. That's it. Was you there?
Yeah.
What happened there?
Basically, we've gone up for a few of the boys' birthday, myself, Simo's, and there's a couple of us our birthday around July the 2nd. So we've gone to Newbury races, coach load of us, yeah. So we're up there a good 3-4 hours, having a laugh, enjoying ourselves, you know, having a drink and, you know, what have you. And I popped outside to pop back to the coach for the second, let's say. As I'm walking back in, one of the boys I seen sprinting out. I'm thinking, what's he doing? Anyway, goes back in, he's kicked right off. What it was 3 coaches of Swansea. Not just Swansea, man. It was Sign-On
rugby club.
Yeah. So there was 3 coaches of them anyway, and so it was kicked off of them. And I mean, it was the same again. No quarter given. There was some bad injuries, you know, and it was back and forth. But truth be spoken, a lot of boys on our side, I think personally, let themselves down because not everyone was fighting. You know, not everyone got involved. Not everyone was fighting. And a few of our lot had bad injuries, which, you know, I thought, well, you know, you're with us. You know, a few of the boys have got bad injuries. You know, you should have been fucking there, really. And a few of them wasn't. But it was back and forth. We never got run out today. We never like turned and run. We was pushed back, hit back, fought back. Do you know what I mean? It was back and forth. If it was a boxing match, maybe they went on a split decision, but we was outnumbered. You know, it was a naughty fight. It was a naughty fight. You know.
Yeah, fair enough.
People getting stamped on, people, you know, getting dropped, and there were some bad injuries. But it weren't just their football boys. Our lot was just football lads. Not all. I'm saying that the majority of us were football lads, but you know, we gave it a go. But they.
It's like you said as well. You know, you don't have to be hard to be a hooligan. Do you?
No. The thing is, you know, I've known boys who can have a fight on road, yeah, and go on to football and being like an ice cream, melted. Do you see what I mean? Bottled it, yeah. But then you could have someone who's, you know, who's just game. Do you see what I mean? Game as fuck, and they'll stand with your mates. That's all you can ask for. Do you see what I mean? That's all. You know, that's all you can ask for. And that's the way I was. Do you see what I mean? You know, I'm just a game lad who wouldn't leave my mates. It's as simple as that. You know, you take an hiding with them, and that's how it was. That's how, you know, it was from day one, and that's how it is today. Really, do you see what I mean? You know, if you're out with your mates, you're not going to leave one of your mates getting leathered on the floor. Do you see what I mean? You know, it's you can't look at them in the face, then, can you? Do you see what I mean? How can you look at someone in the face or you've you know, take an hiding and you've walked away unscathed and left them to take that hiding? Yeah. Do you see what I mean? So that's how we were. That's how we were brought up, and that's what we tried to always do, basically. You know, and you know, we had like I said, we had about 30 of our lot, and we caused some damage.
Over all the years, all the games, all the run-ins, could you count how many times you got done in Cardiff City Soul Crew?
Personally, I know this is going to sound. How can I?
It's not going to sound big-headed, I think.
Yeah,
you just told us about 4 times.
This is. I don't want to sound big-headed. Yeah. I don't want to sound like people are going to think, oh yeah. But when we've been together, our 20 to 30, yeah. We've never been turned and done. We've never actually turned and run and you know, actually gone. Yeah, we've been hit back, don't get me wrong. Do you see what I mean? Like pushed back, not all together though. With Butter, there was only 5 of us out that day. The rest were Cardiff boys, but not our actual our 30, yeah? when we've gone together, our lot, we've never, ever been turned and run. And I don't want to sound big. I don't want to sound like a fucking idiot. But that's how I speak. If we had, then, you know, like I said, Borough pushed us back. Wrexham in Brussels that year pushed us back, yeah? But to turn and run, we've never been turned and actually run, basically.
Yeah.
You know, we've always stood and, you know, fought our way out of it or been pushed back by sheer numbers.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? You know, and that's, and yeah, I know it's you know, people say, oh, well, everyone says that, but that's, you know, if, from my point of view, that's how it's been.
Yeah.
You know? And yeah, we've had some early, you know, scary times as well. You know, Doncaster once, we got caught, 100 Doncaster, Dorm and everything, you know, and they clapped us back to our vans. We gave them such a good fight, they clapped us back to the, you know, to say, yeah, well, you know, good fight, Taffs, do you see what I mean? But actually turned and run, no, I don't think we've ever, you know, been done like that.
All right, listen, I got a couple of questions before we go, just quick fires. First off, there's loads of, like, I've seen loads of podcasts with other boys from firms. I think I seen one on the James English with the Scouser. Any of these, like, you know, or are they the real deal?
Well, he's been to Cardiff a couple of times. That what's his name? Andy, is it that? I can't think of his name.
The Evertonian.
The Evertonian kid. Never seen him do anything. Obviously, he's from there, but I know a few boys up from them ways, and I don't think he's even from Liverpool, to be honest with you. But like I said, I don't really know him. But no, I don't think. I don't know. He's done his thing, haven't he? I suppose. Yeah. He don't seem a thug to me. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
He don't seem
one of the boys.
Nah, he don't seem that. I don't know. I don't know. I might be wrong, but he just don't seem. You know, I don't know. He don't seem like a thug. So,
yeah.
See what I mean? You know.
What about like Carlton, Leach, people like that?
Oh, they're different kettle of fish again, isn't they? Do you see what I mean? They're probably the real deal, isn't they? You know, but just to compare him to them is you can't.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? You can't. You know,
so you reckon there's a lot out there that are like claiming.
Yeah, they just jumped on a bandwagon, haven't they? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and just good luck to them, let them crack on. You know, but yeah, I don't think you can't put them in the same category. I don't think.
All right. I got a couple of questions. First one: best firm you come against?
Actually, seen or fought against?
Best firm you come against?
I would say the Mob Borough lads. Yeah, the Mob Borough lads was probably up there, and the Mob Millwall lads when we fought under the stands was good as well. So I'd say them two were probably the best ones I fought against.
Seen?
The best firm I've seen in Cardiff was probably Man United at the FA Cup when they played Millwall. Early 2000. That's probably the best firm for numbers wise and for lad wise. I thought they were very good.
Okay. Worst firm?
Well, the naughtiest or the shittiest?
Worst, the shittiest.
There's quite a few.
The worst do like claim, you know, they claim there's something, but you know, they turned out to be the biggest letdown.
Do you know what? I'm going to say Nottingham Forest I am, because, right, we went up there, we went up to Forest, yeah, we had it off for Forest up there, right? Then they've said in some book I read that they brought 400 to Cardiff, yeah, and which was absolute bollocks, you know. I think they had 40 or 50 on North Road, in some pub in North Road.
The student place.
Yeah. So to me, I think to myself, why would you say you brought 4? You know. So I'm going to say, that for I'm saying that, I'm going to say they were the worst.
Yeah. I like the naughtiest.
The gamest I would say was Millwall, because I've never seen the side. What Millwall done down here, I'd never seen anyone else do. Come along the side of the pitch and try to go out through the grandstands. Yeah, I've never seen anyone do that. So I would say they were probably the naughtiest and gamest to do that. Because I've never seen anyone do that. I've seen Chelsea come around the back of the Canton stand in the 80s. So that's probably on the same par, I would say. So maybe them two, yeah.
And finally, the worst beating
that I've took. I don't think I've. No.
Worst beating you've given, like when you thought, you know what, we fucking smashed them.
Millwall and Newport.
You smashed Millwall
and Newport, yeah. They were the two that stands out that they took an hiding. You know, that day, the day in Milan and the day under the
grandstand.
Yeah, them two.
Any regrets?
No, none. To be honest with you, none. You know, it was brilliant time, brilliant memories, brilliant times, and you never get them back. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
But no regrets. No, definitely no regrets. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. It was the buzz off it. It's you know, the adrenaline and the buzz. I used to love it. Seeing you, seeing you. I used to love it.
And what you do now with yourself, John?
At the moment, I'm trying to get my HGV license. So I just passed my theory. So I'm going to try to stay on a straight line now. Try to live a normal life and not go back to jail and not try to get into any more trouble.
Still go to some games then and that?
Still go to the games. To be honest, I don't go to the old matches now. I go to the pub to meet the boys.
Yeah, Cardiff is shit.
It's shit, yeah. There's no atmosphere. It's, you know, it's shit. It's shit. Still go with Wales. I don't mind them trips. Still go with like a couple of away games we'll do this season. Pick one or two and we'll all go. Yeah. But nothing like, you know, nothing like it was. Yeah. You know, nothing like it was.
But if you was out, would you be out on a match day one day, like with the boys? And if it did, you heard, you know, it was kicking off, probably.
I don't know. It's in you, isn't it? You got that little. Do you see what I mean? But I think if I was in the pub, let's put it this way: if I was in the pub, yeah, and someone comes to the pub, then I would defend myself.
Yeah, good.
That's the best way to put it.
Well, on that note, mate, it's been a pleasure meeting you. Pleasure talking to you. I reckon a lot of people will enjoy this and just get lost in that world, and I'm totally fascinated by it still.
Yeah.
Thank you for opening up and being honest about it, and hopefully, you know, maybe one day when, you know, things are relevant, maybe when the Wales come, we'll have a chat with you again, mate.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, thank you, John. Yeah,
no problem. Cheers, guys. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. I hope you enjoy the podcast. Leave your comments in the section. Any Swansea lads wants to talk otherwise, then crack on. You know, do what you want. This is the real deal here, isn't it? He's just told us what happened. So take care. Yeah, stay central.
The Central Club.